What's up? A to Z Sports here live on a Tuesday. Glad to have everybody along. Sam Phelan with me, Austin Stanley, for this Tuesday morning show, talking Titans and the new Titans offense under new offensive coordinator Tim Kelly, taking over for the much hated on Todd Downing from the last couple of years. And Titans playmakers last week talking about the new offense for the Tennessee Titans, and we'll discuss their comments and play you their comments of what's different with the Titans offense and Tim Kelly. And I'm curious to see what it looks like when we can get out there for some OTAs and minicamp practices. Rookie minicamp is on Saturday, and then a few other practice dates throughout the month of May and June. Sam, then we're going to get to our guess for who the Titans will play in London as the NFL schedule comes out Thursday night. And I wonder if we're going to get a leak early on about the Titans opponent in London. And so we'll make our best guess on who we think the Titans are going to play in London this upcoming season. And then it is Tuesday, which means sports trivia. So I got to be trivia question master today, which is a role I don't necessarily prefer, but it is what it is. So Sam, welcome in. Let's get this thing rolling.
Hey, let's do it on a Tuesday. For those of you joining us, make sure you share the show before we get started. So if you're watching on Facebook, hit that share button in the bottom right corner. Take that YouTube link, send it to a friend, put it in a group chat. Find the Titans fan or football fan in your life and make sure you introduce them to the A to Z Sports family. Get them involved in our conversation. That's the best way to support us. That's the best way to kind of spread the love and keep growing this conversation each and every day. So make sure you share before we kick things off on a Tuesday.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is our Titans reporter, Sam Phelan, at AtoZSports.com. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter timeline, and also hit us up on Instagram and TikTok for more great Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process by going to see them in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage, rates, and service. Learn more about a health plan for you, fbhp.com/ATOZ. The Aura app, who's keeping you safe online for a 2-week free trial. Head to our link, aura.com/ATOZ, for 2 free weeks of data brokers getting stripped of your information. That's aura.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer located in Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Check them out online at KrebsKubota.com. So, Sam, I created the show headline after we got off the phone with our pre-show planning meeting. I said, Titans playmakers give insight to the updated offense under Tim Kelly. And then I did see a comment in the YouTube waiting room before we went live and being like, playmakers, huh? What playmakers do the Titans have? And yes, the Titans do have playmakers, just not enough of them, or not enough that are proven. But you had a chance to go to the new Titans press conference room last week and hear from several Titans players. And Tim Kelly was not the biggest topic of that day, but it definitely made its way to create some storylines.
It's kind of an underrated topic, I think. For some reason, I guess through all of the rumors of the offseason and the draft hype and everything that kind of went down later in the offseason, the Tim Kelly hire at offensive coordinator slipped through the cracks a little bit. Normally, I feel like in a regular offseason, this would be a huge, huge topic for the Titans, because last year, Todd Downing was the hottest name in Nashville for all the wrong reasons, right? Every show that you and I hopped on, every article that I would write on A to Z Sports, every conversation that surrounded the Tennessee Titans in 2022 resulted in an outcry of fire Todd Downing. The offense is bad. We need a better offensive coordinator, so on and so forth. Well, here we are with a new offensive coordinator, granted an offensive coordinator that was on the coaching staff last year in Tim Kelly, a guy who is known to be one of Mike Vrabel's guys. But There are changes to be made, I would presume, I would hope, and that's what we heard from the Titans players. Chigakonkwo, Aaron Brewer, Ryan Tannehill, three offensive players that spoke to the media were all asked about the Tim Kelly offense and what changes we were going to see on the offensive side of the ball for a team that desperately, desperately, desperately needs a new, revamped, and refreshed look.
Yeah, because Todd Downing, not just last season, but even the year before, being incredibly predictable in play calling, being a very unimaginative scheme, I guess you can say, when it came to pass game concepts and not really having much, creative wrinkles to go along with what they were doing in the run game. But it worked out to where we could tell a lot just by watching TV or being in the stadium where the Titans are playing, of depending on personnel and formation and down and distance, you could probably call out run versus pass. And if we can all do that, then teams and coaches that are studying the Titans offense on a weekly basis, preparing for a game, can definitely do that. And so let's get to one of those playmakers, as Jared says, that had a comment about Tim Kelly when asked about his new offense, and that is tight end Chigakonkwo.
Can you see anything already about the playbook that Tim's put together and what might be different in his offense from what you were doing last year?
I would say just I see a lot of speed is involved. A lot of speed is involved. A lot of plays with where we're trying to go really fast and just take what we can before the defense can get there, trying to outflank guys.
I mean,
That's different, right?
yeah, I mean, it's not a shocking answer given what we heard from Mike Vrabel in his postseason press conference when he said, well, we have to play fast, get fast, and acquire speed. Did they acquire the speed to play faster? That's a different conversation, but at least by the sound of things, the Titans tight end confident early on that the new offense is going to be built in a more up-tempo, fast setting that allows the athleticism of a player like himself to shine, which, we can put it in quotations all we want. Chigakonkwo is a playmaker, and I think he's in for a big second season here in the NFL in 2023. And speed is a big part of his game and what he's able to do after the catch. So certainly seems like something that would suit him well.
Yeah, and I see Eric says Malik equals speed. No, I don't necessarily think that is the speed that Chigakonkwo is talking about. I think the correct word is probably tempo. And Caleb, right? Yeah, Matt says he means less huddles and not on-field speed.
Well, I think
And
it's both, but I mean, like the way that the tempo of the offense allows the Titans to have a step on their defense, and the way that they kind of run schemes to allow their speed to get a step ahead, I think it's kind of all encompassing. And we'll hear more from from Ryan Tannehill here in a little bit, but I do think there is something to this: less huddles, not on the field, but that in itself is a different style of offense from what we saw under Todd Downing.
yeah, and then Caleb says, "Oh damn, Vrabel called Josh Heupel," which I do find it interesting, because one of the bigger reasons that that Tim Kelly was the pick for the Titans and their offensive coordinator search after firing Todd Downing was the familiarity that Tim Kelly has and the ability to carry over. Those were words, right? Familiarity and carry over some concepts that not everything's broken, Mike Vrabel said. Like, there's some good things here that just need to be updated. And I don't disagree with that overall. And Andre had a good comment, Sam, to your overall point about the offensive coordinator change was not very talked about this offseason. And Andre says because nobody wanted to talk about the uninspiring hire at offensive coordinator, because
Yeah.
that's what it was. It was a predictable, uninspiring elevation and promotion for Tim Kelly. But I do think it is interesting to hear Chig, and we'll play that one more time, of Chig on the Titans offense when asked about it last week.
Can you see anything already about the playbook that Tim's put together and what might be different in his offense from what you were doing last year?
I would say just I see a lot of speed is involved. A lot of speed is involved. A lot of plays with where we're trying to go really fast and just take what we can before the defense can get there, trying to outflank guys.
So, right. I mean, try to get there before the defense can get there. The high tempo, the no huddle, these are all changes to the Titans offense, at least in their approach, in uh their pre-snap processing, right? And the way that they go about their operations, but it is a change. Now, had this been an Eric Bieniemy offense or a different offense that was not ran by an offensive coordinator named Tim Kelly, this is probably a much bigger topic of the offseason, but it is still something worth watching as the Titans get into rookie mini camp and these OTAs over the summer to see just how different the play calls themselves look.
Yeah, for sure. And then let's get to Ryan Tannehill's comments, because Tannehill expanded and talked more about this Titans offense under Tim Kelly. And, I think also talked more about some of the things that Chig talked about there. But before we get to Ryan Tannehill's comments about the Titans' new look offense, first, let me tell you guys about Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. That means better coverage rates and service. You can learn more about a health plan for you at fbhp.com/ATOZ. Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you out in whatever type of situation you're in. Maybe you have a young, growing family, and you need to make sure that you have the best health coverage to your availability. And Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you out. They can fill in some gaps, maybe from your current employer that doesn't have the best options for you in dental or vision. Maybe you're an independent contractor, self-employed, an entrepreneur that is trying to find a good, solid plan for you that's not going to cost an arm and a leg for your health coverage. Farm Bureau Health Plans, they do it great for you as well. So check them out right there, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Listen, I have some shade to throw on a
Oh.
Tuesday at the chat, because the Magic Bucket on Thursday, the chat got to pick a bet for me. I'm BetMGM, a $10 bet, and they chose the Los Angeles Lakers money line in game 2, and I said I think the Warriors are going to smoke them, and it was like a 26-point win for the Warriors. I blew my $10. So shade on the chat for that terrible pick. Here's the good news. With BetMGM, you can win instantly on the NBA because they have an offer with the bonus code ATOZ100. That's ATOZ100, where you can place a $10 money line wager on any NBA game and instantly get $100 in bonus bets. So I might need a little bit of redemption tonight. If you're looking for some redemption or just to try and get hot on your picks, pick an NBA game tonight. You've got Suns and Nuggets. You've got Celtics and Sixers. Game 5, $10 money line wager, $100 in bonus bets with ATOZ 100 on the king of sportsbooks, BetMGM.
All right, here live on this Tuesday, Sam, talking about the Titans offense, and Chig Okonkwo talking about speed and tempo for the Titans' new offense. Here's quarterback Ryan Tannehill discussing the new offense under new offensive coordinator Tim Kelly.
What's your early sense of Tim Kelly's playbook and what the differences in this offense can be from what you're coming off?
Yeah, no doubt. It's a big difference, right? New terminology, new concepts, huge changes, but, fresh line of thinking on things. So just having to get up to speed with how we're doing things, what we're calling things, different ways we're attacking the defense. And that's what we're doing right now, is using this time when we're not going against the defense to just try to learn the offense, get accustomed to the new terminology, the new terms, the new routes, and be able to translate that onto the field as we go.
What are you maybe most excited about in the framework of that?
There's a lot of excitement. I love working with Tim. Like I said, fresh mind, bringing in some new ideas, new concepts, different ways to attack the defense, and we've had it around here the last few years. So, definitely some excitement there.
She kind of made it sound like tempo might be maybe a little bit emphasized. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so. We'll see as we get going, right? But we know we want to put pressure on the defense. That might be tempo, might be personnel changes, might be different sets than in personnels than defenses are typically seeing. So, a big emphasis, I think, is just putting pressure on the defense, not just tempo. There's a lot of ways you can do that, and that's one of those tools.
So this is a bit interesting to me, Austin, because, I mean, you do see Ryan Tannehill referring a couple times to like, oh, well, different routes or different ways of attacking them. But again, some of the main things that he discusses are, different, cadences, what we're calling things, different ways of, getting in and out, and, different personnel groupings to put pressure on the defense that in and of itself might signal that the Titans are more or less, I would say, predictable than before. Like if you're mixing guys in and out, you're attacking, you're moving quickly, you're getting to the line of scrimmage and keeping a defense on their toes, that is at least a positive development from what we saw under Todd Downing, if that's well executed, because last year it felt like you looked at who was on the field and you were able to say, well, this is a run play. Well, this is a passing play. And you could kind of telegraph exactly what the Titans were going to do. If you're looking at switching up some of your personnel groupings and you're moving quicker than defenses are able to react, then you might have a step ahead. So some interesting stuff from the Titans QB there.
Yeah, no doubt. And I see this comment from GK that I wanted to get to, which I don't understand where he got his information, but he says, you both are missing the point. Tannehill is not the type of quarterback that can do well with a fast deciding and moving defense. He's not comfortable with this. He likes long huddles and long snap counts. That makes no sense to me, GK, of why you think Ryan Tannehill likes long huddles and long snap counts to go along with his long walks on the beach with his family drinking Celsius in Florida in the offseason. Like, GK, like where are you getting your intel on Tannehill liking long snap counts?
I don't think that. Yeah, I haven't seen anything to believe that Ryan Tannehill is, likes long huddles, long snap counts, and can't process information quickly. Now he's not a fast athletic quarterback, that changes the speed of your offense on the field. But I've always thought Ryan Tannehill handled himself pretty well in operations and was very capable of getting to the line quickly and, making a quick read. So I don't view that as an issue, especially with an experienced quarterback under center. And a quarterback who's well-versed in play action too. So, I mean, like, whether you're in the shotgun, under center, whatever it is, Ryan Tannehill can get up there, get a call in, and get a snap off, no problem. So it's more about like making sure that it's smooth, that everybody's on the same page and, operating as one as you get through a fast-paced offense. But I don't think I look at the quarterback and say, oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, and sorry, Sam, my mic unplugged, so I missed part of what you said. But when I look back at Ryan Tannehill, especially in the 2 seasons under Todd Downing as offensive coordinator, I'm like, no, Ryan Tannehill was at his best when they were moving fast. Like, it was at their worst when they were trying to take their time and almost overthink and out big brain the other team, right? Like, I thought the Titans offense was its most efficient when Ryan Tannehill had more decisions on his shoulders to make and they can move quickly. And you look at the amount of 2-minute drills or end of half situations, end of game situations where Ryan Tannehill was able to put his team in a spot to go down there and score to change the potential outcome of the game. Like, I look at week 1 last year against the Giants in Nissan Stadium. The Titans needed a field goal. Ryan Tannehill put them in position to get a field goal with like a minute and 12 seconds left on the clock, and Randy Bullock missed it. And Randy Bullock is no longer with the team. And then you look at even against the Chargers, Ryan Tannehill, the last time that he played on the ankle that just got injured, and we all have the memes of him looking out the blue tent in pain, but then he still has an opportunity to drive the team down to tie the football game, to have a chance to extend it. Yet the defense gives up some nice passes to Justin Herbert, and the Chargers kick a field goal to win the game. And so, like, I don't understand at all where the doubt of Ryan Tannehill wearing or running an up-tempo offense comes from. It makes absolutely no sense to me. So GK, his opinions need to be taken with a grain of salt, it seems like.
Well, Nathaniel does have a good point here, which is, Ryan brings up, keeping a defense honest, making sure that you're attacking them and not letting them catch up to you. And how do you do that with limited playmakers, as Nathaniel points out here? I think Chig is a playmaker, as I said earlier. I think Treylon Burks is a playmaker, as I said earlier. And I think Derrick Henry speaks for himself in terms of his resume as a running back in this league. But beyond that, we know the issues that the Titans have at wide receiver and the question marks that surround this offense and what they're able to do through the air. So how can you build a different looking offense with less players to kind of change the pace of play or make big plays that keep a defense honest. I think that's a very good comment and something that we'll talk about here in a few moments.
Yeah. And one thing of keeping the defense honest that immediately screams to me, Sam, and I don't know if you remember this play, but it was the first snap of the divisional playoff game, that dreaded Bengals loss in the playoffs 2 seasons ago. The first snap where Tannehill threw an interception trying to target Julio Jones, and Jesse Bates jumped it because there was nobody backside running a route to keep Jesse Bates honest, right? Jesse Bates knew that there were 2 routes on the play and they were both on the same side of the field. So he cheated and jumped it and got the pick. Where if there was a route opposite to keep him honest, then maybe that ball can get there to Julio Jones, and who knows how that game could have been differently. But that was a flat out mistake by a play design and concept that maybe Tim Kelly can help out.
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, you hope so. You hope that Tim Kelly can run better concepts than that one that was just abysmal.
And that's what we'll find out, right? I mean, everybody's hoping so, but really Tim Kelly's experience as a play caller, it's kind of very hard to judge because he was in Houston when he did it and went through a couple waves of Houston where he had Deshaun Watson for a bit, then he didn't have Deshaun Watson. And so what he's able to do with a quarterback like Ryan Tannehill might be very different than what he was able to do in Houston, whose priorities were way different than what the Titans' priorities are. Because here in Tennessee, they're still building through the ground. They're still building around Derrick Henry and the offensive line. And so as we see more of what Tim Kelly has to work with, you'll finally be able to see how much of this was Todd Downing and how was him being inept at calling plays versus, is just a personnel and overall issue with the Titans' approach, philosophy, and roster construction.
Yeah, Caleb says Watson had his best year ever with Tim Kelly. Mills looked way better with Kelly too. I think Kelly is going to be fine. So let's lead everybody right into this question, Sam, that we're here for you guys. What is your confidence level? It's been a while, I feel like, since we've done a confidence level question, but what is your confidence level in the Titans offense being improved under OC Tim Kelly on a 1 through 10 basis? I see Malachi says, I mean, it can't get worse. I mean, it could. Like, I think you don't want to, you say that the last couple of years with the Titans injuries. Oh man, the Titans injuries can't get worse, right? And then they do, right? So could the Titans offense get worse? Yeah.
I mean, I would have told you that the Titans wide receiver core could not be worse than it was in 2022. And they said, oh, hold my beer. We're going to do something during the draft that is just going to blow your mind.
Yeah, cut Robert Woods. It can't be worse. Enter Chris Moore to the chat. Enter Colton Dowell, 7th round pick, to the chat. Not against those two guys themselves. But all right, so we'll get to your comments and see a lot of answers already flying in on what is your confidence level that the Titans offense will be improved under Tim Kelly on a 1 through 10 basis. I'm going to tell you this. My confidence in getting less spam calls and less junk mail in my email inbox in my actual mailbox at my house is a lot higher because I have signed up with the Aura app, and I've done it by going to our link. That's aura.com/ATOZ. I will post that link here in the chat here in a second, but Aura does a phenomenal job of keeping you safe online by opting you out automatically of data brokers lists who are sharing your information and selling your information to robocallers, telemarketers, spammers, and anybody else that wants to approach you and contact you with your information online. Aura found that 30 data brokers had my information, and they removed my information from 29 of them in the first 2 weeks I had Aura, right? Why is that important? Because if you go to our link, aura.com/ATOZ, they will give you 2 weeks free with that link. So aura.com/ATOZ for 2 free weeks. We greatly appreciate you guys going and checking that out, and they can help strip spammers and robocallers from your life. They've done that for me. They've done that for Sam. Zach signed up last week, and he's reaping the benefits of that. So check them out, aura.com/ATOZ.
You can win instantly during these NBA playoffs with BetMGM. You place a $10 money line wager on any NBA playoff game, and you can get up to $100 in bonus bets. You do get $100 in bonus bets with the code ATOZ100, regardless of the outcome on your bet. So it's a $10 money line wager. You pick a team tonight in the NBA playoffs that you think is going to win. And even if your pick is wrong, you're getting $100 in bonus bets with BetMGM. That's why they're the king of sportsbooks. It's why it's impossible to lose this NBA playoffs with our good friends at BetMGM, because you get $100 in bonus bets with just a $10 money line wager, regardless of the outcome. It doesn't get better than that. So do the NBA playoffs the right way and bet with BetMGM.com.
All right, so Tim Kelly taking over the Titans offense. We're asking you guys the question, what is your confidence level in the Titans offense being improved under Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator on a 1 through 10 basis? I am trying to scroll to the top as we've got a lot of answers that flew in here. Let's see. Steven says 6 is his confidence level, and Jared is riding the fence at 5. Jared, we don't like fence riders here at A to Z Sports, but if you didn't know that rule, it's been a while. I feel like since we've had a confidence level question. So I'll give Jared an opportunity to get off the fence and pick one side or the other. Matt says a 9, super confident there. And then Steve says 8.795, a lot of decimal points. Jonathan with an 8. I see Rooney with a 10, C Rich with a 7, Eric with a 6, Jay on Twitch is right there with a 9. Dylan riding the fence with a 5. A different Dylan is over the fence with a 6.2. Richie goes 6. Scott says 7. Hayden 10. Bald and Bearded 10. Kenneth 10. Dustin 7. Eric 10. We're getting a lot of high answers here, Sam. I was not expecting the amount of 7s and aboves. Michael comes in with a 4. Bork says 6.5. Keenan with a 10. Chris says 7.5. 8 from DeMario. 6 from Eric. Now, Denise says 3. It's too soon to tell, which I completely think is fair, Denise. And Sam and I were talking right before the show of we can't wait to get on the practice field so we can actually lay our eyes on what this team can look like. Nick says 6.5. Brad with a 6. 8.5 from Thomas. Eric Castillo asks, can the players execute it? And Corey says 10. It has to be better than Downing. But overall, Sam, I was actually kind of surprised at the number of high numbers in this. Nicholas says big fat 0, top 5 pick in 2024. Here we come. So, I think I'm curious, Sam, what is your answer on trusting, your confidence in Tim Kelly to improve the Titans offense, understanding what the personnel is going to be?
Yeah, 2.
Ooh,
It's low.
what?
My confidence is pretty low. I don't know where this kind of idea got distorted over time that like the Titans offense is supposed to have a bunch of fresh new concepts and kind of be this new age innovative offense. Yeah, it's the same players. It's the same priority of running the ball more often than not. You don't even have the horses to throw if you wanted to throw. I think they're going to look the same. And Austin, I just was pulling this up as you were kind of going through some of the chat's answers here. Let me take you through this quote from Tim Kelly's first press conference as Titans offensive coordinator, where he said, "I didn't think we were predictable last year. I think there were some times where certain games, things, the weather, people you have available, things along those lines that go into predictability or perceived predictability. But I wouldn't say we were predictable last year." To which I responded on A to Z Sports.com, writing about the Titans offense, and says, the Titans were dead last in early down passing frequency, dropping back on 43% of their snaps, and even incorporating a high volume of rushing attempts and a legendary running back in the backfield. They were 29th in the NFL in rushing efficiency in early downs over the last 2 seasons with a negative EPA per play. And looking at 2022 alone, 25% of the Titans' offensive sequences followed the exact run, pass, play sequence Titans fans are sick of, while Derrick Henry took 331 out of his 349 carries. 331 of 349 on either first or second down, and he took 215, more than half, 61% on 1st and 10 or more.
Yeah.
And your offensive coordinator says, don't worry, guys, we weren't predictable. So I don't know where this idea has kind of gone over like the course of the offseason, that Tim Kelly's going to come in and be like super innovative and change things up. Like, do I think he'll bring new concepts? Yes, but I think the foundation of the Titans offense is the same and will continue to be the same until you get a superstar quarterback or surround your quarterback with dynamic playmakers where you can drop back and throw, and actually look like an NFL offense is supposed to look in 2023. I don't think the Titans are there. I think they'll be competent and hopefully less like silly with their mistakes and bad play calls that killed drives like Todd Downing had. But I don't think this thing's going to look a whole lot different.
All right. So that I did those stats are alarming. And yes, I remember those comments from Tim Kelly, and they sound terrible when you pair them with those stats of 61% of Derrick Henry's carries were on 1st and 10 or longer. That's a high number.
That's a big number.
What would you say? 331 of how many carries were on 1st and 2nd down?
It is 331 of, I believe I said it was 349.
So he had 18 carries on 3rd and 4th down.
Yep.
Throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
1 per game.
Yeah.
1 carry per game the entire season on 3rd and 4th down combined. Yeah, correct. I mean, that's absolutely predictable. Now, Malachi says that that's Tim Kelly not burning his bridges comment. And then Matt also agrees and says that was lip service. Come on, Sam, that Tim Kelly's trying to just go out there and not upset the apple cart and do the right things. And Titans Kyle says, thank you, Sam. That's why I'm lower on my confidence that Tim Kelly wouldn't even permit or admit that they were bad or predictable. Now, it wasn't Tim Kelly's offense. Tim Kelly, from what we have learned over the last year, was not heavily involved.
Very hands-off.
Very hands-off. I think hands-off is a good way to say it. Was very hands-off of game planning and also play calling. He was super hands-off of play calling. He had no input in it. Tim Kelly's job as pass game coordinator last year was more about looking forward in the schedule, it seems like, than it was installing and working on the game plan for that particular game upcoming that week, right? Like, it does feel like he was there and maybe he was in a spot where he was like, you know what? I'm just going to let this play out. It's not how I would do things. But it's not my job. Right. Yeah. And I think if I'm Tim Kelly and if I'm in Tim Kelly's situation, knowing that there's a high chance that Todd Downing is probably not back after the year, I want to separate myself and my, abilities and my identity as a play caller away from Todd Downing as much as possible. And look, Mike Vrabel said confidently that he thinks Tim Kelly brought into the interview by saying, here are the things I would do differently. Here are the things that are not broken. And here's why I can accomplish this on top of the data that we have of Tim Kelly calling plays in the NFL with the Houston Texans with a team that was not super talented either.
Yeah.
After Deshaun Watson.
Well, look, I think that there's a real possibility that this is lip service from Tim Kelly when he said, things weren't predictable like that. That's very possible. And I'm more than willing to give Tim Kelly the benefit of the doubt for, the beginning of the season. But the question is, what confidence level you have in the Titans offense being new and improved. And I don't see anything that the offensive coordinator said or anything that the team did in the offseason to build this roster in a way that gives me confidence that things are going to be different. Like, things might be better or improved in one area or another, but I think, and I've maintained this point for quite some time, I think the Titans need a major facelift on offense, and they need a new approach to their offensive philosophy and to how they build and construct their roster to, to follow through with that philosophy, and they haven't made those moves yet. So I think Tim Kelly's impact, while it could be better than what Todd Downing did, I feel like at this point is going to be rather limited, and I don't have much confidence that it's going to be some massive change, which is why my number is so low. Like I don't want this to come across as like, well, it's going to be the worst offense in the league again. I think it can improve, but I think it's all marginal improvement when you're talking about what the personnel is that he's working with and what I've heard and seen from him as Titans OC so far.
Yeah. Fair. All that's fair. So asking the question level, confidence level 1 through 10, and Tim Kelly improving the Titans offense. Philip comes in with a super chat wanting to get to this. He says he's at a 3 because at the end of the day, I don't believe Vrabel values minimized turnovers, more maximized points. So he puts his OC in a play calling box as results. I see where you're coming there, Philip. And then Juan also adds with the super chat, all that has to do with poor O-line play, Sam. When Sam, you're going through the stats of predictability, and I do think
It's a
as
factor.
much as I don't want to give Todd Downing like credit or benefit of the doubt, yeah, when you have one of the worst offensive line in the football world, and Dennis Daly is your left tackle, and you have a rookie third rounder at NPF as your right tackle, and Ben Jones has his second concussion of the year. Nate Davis is hurt with whatever, and Aaron Brewer, in his words, the media thinks he weighs 245 pounds at left guard. Yeah, that does limit some of the tools that you have in your bag on what you can do.
Well,
But
yeah,
again, adapt, right?
adapt. Yeah. And like, do I think their offensive line is improved? Yeah, but I don't think their offensive line has any depth as it currently sits. Like, you better hope that starting 5 stays healthy, because, the guys who are currently lined up to be the backups are very, very underwhelming. So, like, that's when you start to look at having to plug and play guys that you don't really have any business being NFL starters if any one of your starting 5 offensive linemen go down right now. And the Titans were, without a doubt, a stronger, better offense earlier in the season when they had Ryan Tannehill without an ankle injury, and you had, an offensive line that actually looked competent and was healthy. And had they had Taylor Lewan, I think Todd Downing could have done a lot more stuff on offense last year. But the fact of the matter is, your offense and your play calling and your scheme, the good ones are able to withstand injury because the good ones, just apply all the time, and they're not contingent on your very best personnel being healthy at all times. And right now, I don't know what the Titans do. For example, if Treylon Burks gets hurt, what do the Titans do on offense? And how is their offense any different than it was when you had Robert Woods and CJ Board catching passes against Philadelphia? I don't think that it is. And so my confidence is still very minimal until I see something on the field where I say, okay, Tim Kelly is cooking something different than what Todd Downing was brewing up last year.
All right, I've yet to answer my confidence level. Sam, you were a 2 out of 10, right?
I was a 2.
God, that's so low.
It is low.
Was that just an emotional, I'm gonna throw did you
I was gonna go 3. And then I pulled up the quote, to be honest, and I read the quote, and I was like, I might have to go 2.
That's it. It's a 2.
I read it again in my head before I read it out loud, and I said, this is worse than I remember it being.
That's
like,
hilarious.
you look at some of the numbers.
My comment on where I think the Titans can improve, my confidence level in a second. More of your answers. What is your confidence level in the Titans offense improving under Tim Kelly 1 through 10? But first, let me tell you guys about Krebs Kubota. I'm heading out there tomorrow to see our guys Matt and Jamie at their Murfreesboro location. Krebs Kubota is an elite Kubota dealer, locations in Columbia, Franklin, and in Murfreesboro, where I'll be going. So you can check them out at KrebsKubota.com. They are Middle Tennessee's preferred equipment dealer with convenient locations across the mid-state, like I mentioned. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer, has served this Middle Tennessee community for now over 18 years. Krebs Kubota sells services and supplies parts for the best equipment in the industry and has that large inventory in stock at all 3 locations right now. It is their goal to have the best parts and service in the industry. So it's not just you can find the equipment that you're looking for, is that when you get that equipment and you need somebody to go back to help you with the parts and the service, they've got it right there behind the best equipment in the industry. So once again, Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Check them out online at KrebsKubota.com.
Well, who doesn't love free money? Who doesn't love bonus bets? So get your win with the NBA playoffs because you win automatically with BetMGM. It's a $10 money line wager on any NBA team to win their playoff game, and you get $100 in bonus bets instantly. You use the code ATOZ100, ATOZ100 on the BetMGM app, and $100 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of the outcome of your bet, when you place a $10 moneyline wager on the NBA playoffs. So get with the king of sportsbooks, BetMGM, today.
All right, so Sam, you were at a 2 out of 10. I'm significantly higher than that. Am I just going in here being like, Tim Kelly is the savior? He is the guy that's going to get the Titans offense out of the dumpster. No, I'm not that confident, but I am at a 6. I'll make it a 6.5 because I do think Tim Kelly has experience in getting something out of a lesser than talented offensive skill set than most NFL coordinators have. Like the Texans in the 2 years that Tim Kelly was a play caller, yeah, he had Deshaun Watson for 1, but they were not exactly loaded at pass catcher. They had a lot of injuries. Will Fuller was never present, healthy. They already traded away DeAndre Hopkins, and they didn't have anybody at tight end or in a rotational door at running back. And Deshaun, with a terrible defense, put up a lot of points and a lot of yards and scored touchdowns. Then with Davis Mills, who is a physically limited quarterback, was a rookie late round pick, did very well with old Danny Amendola and some other guys that probably have jumped around the league, right? I think Tim Kelly is way better at play calling, at having a feel for the in-game situation and dialing up what is the right play call for that moment, not based off of what you decided on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday in the week, but in that moment of the feel of what the right move is and feeling trends and tendencies, where I just think Todd Downing was terrible in that situation. Like
He stuck
Todd
to the
Downing
sheet a lot. He stuck to the plan a lot, even when logic and trends and tendencies and the atmosphere in the stadium was, no, Todd, don't do that. Whatever you do, don't throw that, that HB toss to Derek again. They've hit him in the backfield 3 straight times, and it was, I'm going to stick to my play card. I'm going to call the same thing.
Right.
So
the worst thing that Todd Downing did was have a feel for in-game play calling and rhythm. I think Tim Kelly is significantly better than that, which is where my confidence lies. Look, I'm intrigued to see if they have up-tempo. I think that's interesting. I think, do they have the personnel to execute up-tempo? Because you don't just have to – up-tempo offenses is not just about your physical gifts. It's less about that. It's about your ability to process fast. And Chig Okonkwo is super smart. Like
you have to have your operations down.
And Chig is sharp. Kyle Phillips is sharp, and he ran Chip Kelly offense at UCLA. That translate. Ryan Tannehill, we know, is sharp.
I will say too, though, I mean, this is not just skill players, though. Like this is your offensive line. And it's, it's an offensive line that has 3 new starters that, are brand new to the Titans, and Peter Skoronski, Andre Dillard, and Daniel Brunskill. And it's got Aaron Brewer playing a completely new position and possibly the most important one when it comes to operations, and that's center. So, this is not just a how do your wide receivers transition as well. Up-tempo offense is an 11-guy thing. It's all 11 that have to execute well in order to make it fluid and actually work.
Right. And here's an example of up-tempo situation that failed for the Titans last year. I don't remember which game it was, Sam, maybe you could recall, but I remember where the Titans tried to go quick and NWI was lined up in the left slot. He ran down the seam. He didn't look for the ball, and Tannehill threw a pick. and NWI ran the wrong route. I don't know
Yeah.
if it was in the middle of the field at home. I don't remember what game it was, but I remember
Pretty early on. Might have been.
I remember Tannehill being like, they're going to
Indianapolis.
commercial break, and Tannehill's like, he's like making hand motions at
Mm.
NWI, and maybe that's NWI not, processing what that situation was and what the right read was and all that because they're going fast, right? So it's all about, can you be on the same page? And they have to do that mentally rather than just physically. And I think NWI is a smart player. Don't get me wrong. I think the reason why he's stuck with the Titans for so long is because he knows how to do every position, but he made a mental mistake in that situation, and it cost the Titans an interception.
Yeah, I mean, that's the risk on offense. Is that small mistake turns into a turnover, turns into a missed touchdown, turns into a touchdown for the other team, depending on how severe it is. So, like, if you're going to run the high-speed, volatile offense that, relies a lot on the pre-snap process and smooth operations, you have to make sure that you are as clean with it as possible every single snap, because mistakes are big, big mistakes.
Yeah, and then here comes GK with his narrative. Right on cue, he says, no, NWI was where he should have been. It's Tannehill being overwhelmed when needed to go live fast. And again, GK on this thing where,
we got confirmation after the game that it was NWI in the wrong spot, but
yeah.
All right.
But hey, GK can continue to go on his conspiracy theories against Ryan Tannehill being a not liking fast offenses and wanting to have slow, long cadences and long huddles to chit chat and everything. It's ridiculous. But
It was the chit chat.
Oh man. So anyway, I do think Ryan Tannehill deserves a little bit of grace, a little bit of, let's see if Ryan Tannehill can be back to where he was with Arthur Smith.
He certainly didn't have a ton to work with last year, just regardless, like both offensive line, both wide receivers, then the injury, like it was a rough year for Ryan Tannehill in 2022. And I certainly think he's capable of more than what he showed on paper, if put in a better situation.
All right, guys, that's enough right now about Tim Kelly, and hopefully GK doesn't have any more funny narratives that will distract us. But the Titans schedule will be coming out Thursday night. So in 2 nights, we'll have, I guess technically 3 nights, we will have the Titans full schedule for 2023. They do play in London. And so we're going to play a game right now and try to predict who we think the Titans will play in London this season. And Sam just threw these up on the screen. Here are the Titans opponents, and they have 9 home opponents and 8 away opponents. Now the London game is technically a home game. And so if you look at those home opponents right there, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Houston, the Chargers, Seattle, Indy, Carolina, Jacksonville, Atlanta, which of those home opponents do we think the Titans will face off in London? So we'll get to your comments here in a second. But Sam, first tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai.
Wilson County Hyundai, our friends over at Wilson County Hyundai need to be a part of your car buying experience. You can visit them at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. They are the place to go for your new ride out in Lebanon, or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. You can get 0% APR for 48 months on 2023 Sonatas, Santa Fe's, or Tucson's. Payne Bone and his team at Wilson County Hyundai are happy to guide you through the financing process, assisting in either buying or trading in your vehicle. So you can forget those downtown Nashville prices, leave those behind, head out to Lebanon, see our friend Payne Bone and the Wilson County Hyundai team, and visit them at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
All right, with BetMGM, it's NBA playoff time and a chance for you to win instant money with BetMGM. When you sign up for the BetMGM app, use our code ATOZ100. That's ATOZ100 when you sign up with the BetMGM app. And all you got to do, make your first deposit and place a $10 moneyline wager on any NBA playoff game. And you're going to get $100 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of what happens with that $10 moneyline wager. So make sure you take advantage of that with BetMGM throughout the playoffs here. That's ATOZ 100, and you place a $10 moneyline wager on any NBA playoff game to automatically get $100 back in bonus bets. Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions subject to qualification, eligible requirements. Rewards issued as knowledgeable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days. And for problem gambling support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. All right, Sam, I'll let you get to the chat. Who do we think the Titans will play in London this year? It'll be one of these 9 home opponents. And if you go back to 2018, the Titans' other and only other London game, they played the LA Chargers in 2018. So that is an option, but will they run it back to the Chargers again? I kind of doubt that. So Sam, what's the chat saying on the opponent in London?
Devin Mills says the Jags. Will says the Texans. We've got the Falcons. We've got the Chargers. We've got Jags, Chargers, Falcons or Chargers. The Falcons from John, Chargers from DeMario, Texans from Will, Chargers from Dylan, Jags from Steven, Seahawks from Ken, Atlanta from Jabu, Texans from Connor. We've got the Jags from Nate. We've got Atlanta from Kevin, the Falcons from Hayden, the Jags. We've got the Falcons.
Let me pause real quick because I think I need to be more clear. The Jags are technically a home game for the Titans, but the Jags are also a designated home team in London. So there are 3 home teams in London this season: the Bills, the Jags, and the Titans. So
it will not be the Jaguars.
Cannot be the Jags. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's a good point there. Okay.
Yes.
Here we go. We've got,
sorry about that.
Richie says Seahawks. Steven says Seattle. Karen says Atlanta. Panthers or Falcons, says Maserati Matt. Carolina from Jody. The Jags from Eric, which I'll just skip the Jags comments now. We've already ruled those out.
Right.
Colts from Nathaniel. Panthers from Lee. The Texans from Will. We've got Baltimore from Paulie D. The Bengals from Guy. We've got the Chargers from Charlie. Carolina from Mr. Jones. The Bengals from Kevin. We've got a lot of comments coming in, Austin. Who do you think the Titans will play in London?
Yeah, my bad for the Bort calls me out. Austin's late with that critical
that was
information.
essential information.
Yeah, that's my bad. My bad, guys. I got you on that one. So this is a home game, right? So I was trying to think of like what makes the most sense overall. And I don't think it would make sense because the NFL doesn't want their teams to travel ridiculous miles in the season. They want to be able to manage that as much as possible. So I don't think the NFL would make Carolina and Atlanta have what would normally be a super short road trip be a road trip to freaking London. I don't think they would do that. So that's why I also don't think it's going to be a divisional opponent because I don't think they do that either. Don't quote me on that.
They've done that before though.
Maybe a couple times, but usually I don't think they go divisional route. I feel like it's going to be an NFC team, and I think it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks.
You're taking my answer. Because
I think if the Seahawks are going to travel from Seattle to Nashville, then you might as well just go Seattle to London.
Well, listen, I look at this list, and I think we can do almost like you can. I do process of elimination here.
Yeah.
I don't see any of the Titans Bengals has been a nice rivalry in the AFC for the last couple of years. I don't foresee that being moved out of Nissan Stadium. Same thing with Titans Ravens. Like we've seen some history there in recent playoff games. And Lamar Jackson facing the Titans, I think, is another fun one that they would like to keep in the U.S. They're not going to do the Chargers. We talked about, they just did that, and I don't think they would go back to the exact same matchup. The Colts and Titans, the Texans and Titans, we know it can't be the Jags and Titans. I don't see the divisions either because we know those sell tickets. The regional opponents in Carolina and Atlanta, I don't think they're sending Bryce Young or CJ Stroud to London. They want to keep those young quarterbacks or Anthony Richardson for that matter, if he truly is playing. I think they want to keep the young quarterbacks in the US-based games for these fan bases. And when I do process of elimination, I go where you are. Seattle. Nobody's ever seen Titans Seahawks and been like, oh, what a game that is. That's not a game that the the 12th man is going to travel to Nissan Stadium in Nashville in bunches to attend. So that's the game that you make the destination game. That's the game that you send across the pond to London. I think that makes the most sense in my brain, at least.
I just continue to find information that is changing my feeling on this.
Uh-oh.
It's not going to be the Seahawks. The Seahawks played the Niners in Germany last year.
I mean,
I'm not-
the Titans played in London last year. Or no, not
No, it was
last year,
2018.
yeah, 2018.
It
That's
was a
good
long time
point.
ago. It's 2023.
I feel like
I
you can go overseas pretty regularly, though. Can you not?
I don't think they're going to do the Seattle Seahawks in Europe back-to-back years.
I don't know.
So I am changing my answer.
Who would you change it to, though? I just don't see any of the other teams. Maybe unless it's Baltimore or like Cincinnati. I have a hard time seeing, like we mentioned, like the regional opponents of Atlanta, Carolina, like the division opponents of Houston. Like, how do you take those out of? I don't know. I don't know.
All right, I'm changing my answer. I don't think it's Baltimore. I don't think it's Cincinnati, because I think if the NFL told Amy Adams Strong, instead of you guys hosting the Ravens or the Bengals, we're going to have that game in London, I think they would flip a, you know what, if they have the Ravens and Bengals game in London. If you look at the home opponents, it's the two best tickets that the Titans have at home. They're not going to screw over the Titans like that in that situation, in my opinion. So I think it's the Carolina Panthers. I think it's going to be Titans-Panthers in London. I actually do think that Bryce Young being the number 1 overall pick, sending that number 1 overall pick to London is a way to promote. And I think that makes sense. And like, I don't think the Titans are going to give a damn about losing out on Carolina Panthers home ticket sales unless it's to Alabama fans, right? I think it's Titans Panthers in London.
I mean, if there is something for your point earlier, it is the fact that Jacksonville has played in London a lot of years in a row now.
But that's their deal, though. Like, that's
I mean,
the
they have
Jacksonville's
that
kind of signed up for it.
But I don't know if they're afraid to do a team pretty regularly overseas. Seattle, that is a good point. If they played in Germany last year, I mean, I guess I could see Carolina. I guess I have a hard time believing it's a division opponent. I have a hard time believing it's any of those or either of those main AFC teams in Cincinnati and Baltimore. And it's not going to be Atlanta. That is way too good of a draw for Nissan Stadium to have the Falcons coming to town to take that game off the schedule. So
I think Falcons, because it's like the Titans of the South, like the 2020 Titans are in Atlanta and they come back to Nashville. I think that makes sense to have a Nissan Stadium. I just think it's
and the travel thing that you mentioned. I mean, that's a very doable trip for the Falcons that, really saves them a lot of miles and, is good for them. So they don't want to go to London for that game either.
If I lived in London and they sent me Carolina versus the Titans with existing rosters, I'd be pissed. LOL. Maybe.
Well, they're going to market the stars. They're going to say, it's Bryce Young against Derrick Henry. Like, check this out. And
Alabama. Send Alabama to London, right? Alabama Heisman Trophy winners. There's their sales pitch. Boom, done.
Yeah, maybe we just did it right there. I still think it's going to be Seattle. I don't know. Seattle just feels right to me. That colorway, like the Titans two-tone blue against that neon green in London, just kind of feels right. I don't know.
All right, Sam, let's get to Tuesday sports trivia. We need everybody's help because we need a 5-0 week, to be honest.
All right.
Right now we're 10 out of 15. It's not good enough. We need to go 5-0. So we need everybody's help on our Tuesday sports trivia to win 5, get 5 correct in a row. One rule, no Googling. So we'll get to Tuesday sports trivia here in a second. But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Tomorrow, Sam, you and I are talking to one of the Bone and Joint Institute's experts about Tyjae Spears and how can a running back with arthritis in his knee and maybe no ACL in his knee be drafted in the 3rd round. Well, we'll figure out how it works and how Tyjae Spears' NFL career can go with all the reported injuries that he's had in his knee. So a Doc Talk segment tomorrow at 12:30 Central with the folks at the Bone and Joint Institute. Very much looking forward to that one. This is going to be interesting. So that's at 12:30 Central Time with the Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Check them out, boneandjointtn.org.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, and you can win every time with BetMGM when you're looking at the NBA playoffs. Place a $10 moneyline wager on any NBA team to win their playoff game, and regardless of the outcome of your bet, you can get $100 in bonus bets as long as you sign up using that code ATOZ100. That's ATOZ100 on BetMGM, a $10 moneyline wager on any NBA team to win their playoff game, and regardless of the outcome, you're getting $100 in bonus bets. That's why every game and every play means that much more with BetMGM and BetMGM.com.
Tuesday sports trivia. I've already said we need to go 5-0. It's tough. I mean, we've 10 out of 15 last week, Sam. We went NFL draft, and me and the chat team together.
You did draft? I feel like I would have been so good at
well,
that. That's
we did. Zach had a list of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL history drafted in the second round. And we had to get as many of the 10 as possible. And each QB
top 10
was
in what?
Top 10 NFL quarterbacks ever in history. Right. It was an opinion list.
Oh, okay.
So look, we did okay. We got 8 out of 10. Each quarterback was worth a half a point. So I'm glad it was even. And we didn't have to deal with decimals moving forward.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts was not on the list because of when it was written.
It's a bad list. It's a bad list.
That's what I said. All right. So Tuesday sports trivia, we're going draft theme as well. And again, I admit I am not as good as Zach is, or maybe even you, at being the question master. I'm way better answering the questions. So we're going to try to go NFL draft here. So with 5 questions, let's see. I got 10 options here. These are not super great, but we'll make it work. Which NFL bust was selected first overall in 1999? Which NFL bust was selected first overall in 1999? The options are A, Ryan Leaf, B, Courtney Brown, C, Charles Kraft Jr., or D, Tim Couch.
I thought it was, my first guess was Ryan Leaf. That was the first thing, but
Ryan Leaf was second overall. He was second overall after Peyton in 98. Okay. So it's not Ryan Leaf.
So then it's got to be Tim Couch, I feel like. And that seems to be the overwhelming
I think it's
answer.
Courtney Brown, to be honest. I think
Courtney
Tim Couch.
Brown?
Yeah, who was the maybe it is Tim
Couch went to Cleveland, so that would make sense that they were picking one in 99.
I think it's Tim Couch. Because that was like their expansion thing. I think it's all right. So we're gonna go Tim Couch.
I'm gonna go Tim Couch. Lock it in, A to Z. Here we go.
Right. We have selected Tim Couch. I will submit the answers after we get to 5, so we don't know leading up to it. Name the pick and the team John Elway was drafted by in 1983. So the pick and the team that John Elway was drafted by in 1983.
I don't know the overall pick. I
think I know it. But we're going to need help here. Third round, second pick by the Broncos. I don't think that's it. First overall by the Baltimore Colts. First overall by the Denver Broncos, or first overall by the New England Patriots.
All right. Well, then it's the Colts. It's first overall to Baltimore then.
Yeah, that's what
Baltimore Colts first overall. That's final.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Who held the first overall pick in 1997? Who held the first overall pick in 1997? The Raiders, the Lions, the St. Louis Rams, or Washington Commandskins team? Who held the first pick in 1997? Oakland, Detroit, St. Louis, or Washington? So this is the year before. Ironically, 98 is when my draft knowledge really begins.
97, first overall.
I think it might be the Rams with Orlando Pace. That is what I kind of believe. Rams, Orlando Pace.
Chat likes the Lions a lot, or the Rams. We've got Lions, Rams. Was Oakland an option?
Oakland, yeah. 1997, not 2007. 97.
Yeah, 97. Oakland, Detroit, Lions, Detroit, Rams, Oakland, Rams, Lions, St. Louis.
See, I think the Rams, remember, the Rams had Barry Sanders, and they were not like the worst team in the league. They actually
Lions had Barry Sanders.
What did I say? Rams?
Rams, yeah.
Sorry, yeah. I think it's the Rams because that year is also the year, I believe, the year after that is the year the Rams traded for Marshall Faulk from the Colts.
Okay.
And so I think they sucked. They got Orlando Pace at Ohio State at 1 overall. That's my guess. So we're going to go with the Rams?
Yeah, let's go with that. That checks out.
All right. St. Louis Rams is our answer. Okay, we got 2 more here live on this Tuesday Sports Trivia. So I'm just going to I'm trying to see. This is interesting. Maybe this is just the last. I don't know. I like this question, but it's not fitting our format.
Well,
it says,
we don't have to do multiple choice if it doesn't work.
Well, it says list the following draft picks by the earliest to the latest. As far as like years.
Where they got picked?
Years. I think.
Oh.
Like the list is Troy Aikman, Carson Palmer, David Carr, John Matuszek, Michael Vick, Vinny Testaverde, Earl Campbell, Jim Plunkett.
I feel like we just have to skip that.
Yeah, I am too. All right, 2 more questions out of this. O.J. Simpson was the first overall selection in 1971. True or false?
True. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. That's not a great question.
I think we got Ronnie saying false, Matt saying true. We got both back and forth, true and false.
I think it's true. I don't know though. I mean, we got true from Matt, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true. Yeah, it's kind of coming in with a wave of false. This would be interesting. Lucas says it was 73. That'd be a nice little trick question. If it was
You go false?
Sure, false. I don't have a clue either way. I don't know. I'm good at the draft stuff, but you're asking some old questions here.
All right, last question. Who was the first overall pick in 2001? Michael Vick, Tim Couch, Carson Palmer.
That is an 01?
01.
Carson Palmer?
I think it's either Vick or Palmer. I think it's Vick. What year was Palmer?
I don't think Vick went in 01. I thought he was
Was he in 2000?
I thought he was like 02 or 03.
Brock says Palmer was 03. I think Vick
then
was
maybe
01.
I'm mixing them up. Maybe Palmer's 03 and Vick is 01. Then yeah, let's go Vick then.
Vick?
Yep, Michael Vick.
All right. So we've got our 5 questions submitting our answers. We'll see what we did. Who was the first overall pick in 2001? We answered Michael Vick. We were correct. O.J. Simpson was the first overall selection in 1971. True or false? We answered false. We were correct. Name the pick and team John Elway was selected by in 1983. Our answer was first overall by the Baltimore Colts. Boom, 3-0. Which NFL bust was selected first overall in 1999? We answered Tim Couch. 4-0 we go. And who held the first overall pick in 1997? We guessed the St. Louis Rams. And we were correct. So we went 5-0.
There we go.
That's what we need.
Not surprised. Not surprised. Pretty easy slate of questions, if I'm going to be honest. Not the
best. But again, like I don't have the.
I'm gonna have to get back in my bag.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to get back. Like I've got some on deck. So, but I gotta warn everybody. If Sam's the question master, we're getting rid of multiple choice. That's just how it rolls.
Let's
So
see. We got somebody saying that Courtney Brown was the correct answer there. So I'm just going to Google Courtney Brown and we'll find out exactly what year he was drafted to make sure that, that was indeed okay. So it was 1999. Who was the first overall pick in 1999? We answered Tim Couch. Tim Couch was that. Courtney Brown was the first overall pick in 2000 by the Cleveland Browns. So the Browns had back-to-back years of number one overall picks because they were in fact awful. Yeah. So there you go.
You didn't want to acknowledge the
I
comment. I just throwing this up here. Just
okay.
Random comment that I just threw on the screen. I mean, who knows what it.
Well, Ian's our guy that lives in Scotland, and so he is our across the pond. Yeah. I think Sam's lunch money should send Sam to London.
European Sam. That'd be a scary sight. London's not ready.
You guys need to give us some more Sam lunch money if we want to send Sam to London with that bank. But no, Nick, look, we got time to build that up here, right? So the schedule comes out on Thursday night. We'll have a bunch of reaction to it on Friday morning to find out if the Titans fell victim to a new NFL rule. How about that for a tease for 3 days from now?
There we go.
So we'll talk about that later on. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. Buck Rising live tonight, A to Z Sports Primetime. We'll see you then on a Wednesday morning at 8. Make sure you like the show before you go. Give us that thumbs up on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I guarantee more people are watching right now that have actually liked the show. So please help us out and give us that thumbs up. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks.